Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I'll motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the fake and this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in they fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Nah. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on the dash. And they tell me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Kennels live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. But guys, we got Bitcoin sitting at $88,224. What is coming next as we are stuck in this end of the year sideways, boring, choppy, wonky price action, guys? I'm going to try to do something a little bit different today. We're going to do a quick market update. I'm going to kind of go over the price action with you guys, the key levels, and then we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A. Tony's going to fire on the Q&A, and it's going to kind of hang out. We'll keep the chart up. If anything happens, we'll be here. Maybe we'll take a look at some altcoins, but we'll just do a Q&A, end of the year kind of thing, and yeah, we'll just kind of hang out with the Mafia. My favorite thing to do, baby, especially when the charts are boring. We have each other. We have each other, guys. But shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here and hanging out with us here on this beautiful Tuesday night. Let's see. We got Rudy in the chat. What is going on? Said 1 second play-by-play. Shout out to Rudy. He loves those 1 second play-by-plays. Maybe we'll go on the 1 second chart for a little bit. Maybe we'll actually fire on some like 200x leverage longs on the 1 second chart. But yeah, shout out to Rudy. Welcome in. We got Neon Visual in the chat. Dave Hagen. We got, let's see. We got MC Cali 20. Welcome in. Said he could watch live tonight. We're happy to have you in here today, bro. We got Darren Does Things. Jesse holding down the chat. Those are the mods, guys. Show him some love in the chat. We got Felix in the chat. Said, yo, Frankie, what's good, bro? Just came back from a Chelsea FC football match. Made some gains on Boxing Day. Let's go. Shout out to Felix. Congratulations, baby. Were you using the volume profiles is the question. Rudy says, heck yes. Let's go. Let's get it. But yeah, guys, Tony, whenever you get a chance, fire on the Q&A. If you guys want to dump some questions in here, this is the time to ask your questions. If you ever wanted to ask anything, whether it's TA related, personal, whatever it is, ask. I got no filter here, guys. We got no filter. I'll answer whatever questions you ask. Well, I guess most of them will answer. But guys, with all that being said, shout out to Jay Edit. Shout out to Mr. Jinx. Shout out to Ray. And last but not least, shout out to Incognito and Crypto Crimson or Crimson Caravan Company dropping the bombs in the chat. Let's go. Without further ado, let's go ahead. Just using volume profiles. Shout out to Felix taking some sauce from the Candle Mafia here and making some money. That's what I love to hear, brother. But guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. We got the Heikinashi trend hat here on, guys. Limited edition. There's only one. This is mine. This is the only one we have. And it has CandleMafia on the back. For anyone who doesn't know, check this out. How fire is this? I don't know if you guys were able to see that, but it says CandleMafia on the back. The poll was hilarious. At the beginning, the poll was like 100% 87K, where Bitcoin will be at the end of the year. Oh my God, chat disappeared here. Let me pull that back up. I jumped right into the Q&A. All right, Q&A is open if you guys want to drop some questions in for later in the stream. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts here, guys. Shout out to MC Call. I think I always say MC Callie. I think it says MC Call. He says, when are you putting a ring on Mrs. Candle's finger? I plead the fifth. I'm just kidding. But let's go ahead and jump on in here, guys. How bearish am I? Put the questions in the Q&A section, guys. But let's go ahead and jump in here. How bearish am I? Well, we'll take a look at the higher time. Let's jump onto the higher time frames at first, guys. Now, yesterday, you guys will know, we did take a look at that money flow on the weekly, which is now at the lowest it has been since the major crossover, triggering the massive bull market. You guys can see here we are sitting at about 3.1. This is the lowest we have been in quite some time. Literally since the beginning of the bull market. We got a little fake out crossover here. We came back into the red for, half a second and then came right back into the green. And this money flow obviously is indicating that some kind of a larger downtrend is going to be the higher probability situation. I'm not going to cover this like in full, just because I covered every single day. But obviously, guys, these weekly money flow crossovers, we showed it yesterday. We've only had like 3 or 4. I think we've only had 3 money flow crossovers on the weekly, and every single time it has indicated the bear market is incoming. Right now, I'm not necessarily just calling for a 77% dump, but it has indicated at, previously every single one has indicated the bear market. Now, is that bear market going to bring us down to 70 to 59K, or is it going to bring us all the way down to 30K for a traditional 4-year cycle bear market with a 70-ish percent, 70 to 80% dump? We're going to be looking between 70 and 59K if we do get the bigger drop down. And I know the question on everybody's mind is, are we going to get the relief rally? I compared the chart yesterday to MicroStrategy, which has been a leading indicator to what Bitcoin is going to do in the past. We are almost in the exact same situation that we were in 2021. Maybe I'll pull that up in a second, but MicroStrategy did not get the pullback. MicroStrategy is literally hanging out right in here inside our lower volume profile. Obviously, the charts are pretty close to each other. They basically look exactly the same. MicroStrategy just kind of stuck around and then just melted right down into this volume profile. This is going to be that next major zone of support between about $70,000 and $59,000. Of course, we can deviate below that value area low, and of course that money flow crossover into the red on MicroStrategy. I guess I will bring it up here. Let me pull it up over here. Bada boom, bada bing. Right, that weekly money flow crossover was indicative, right? We had that money flow coming out on the weekly. Eventually, it crossed over. We got the bigger dump to the downside, and we're hanging out right in that same or similar volume profile. This is like that 70,000 to 59K zone on Bitcoin. Literally almost the exact same thing. So are we going to get the relief rally? Well, one more thing I do want to bring up here, guys. I'm going to pull up Market Cipher A. I do not always look here at the EMA ribbon, but if I go ahead and turn on the default settings here, guys, on the weekly, another big bearish sign. Long term, right? Doesn't mean we can't get relief. Doesn't even mean it has to play out, right? But of course, more often than not, the charts are right. One other thing that we have seen, I've covered this in the past. We start to get these EMA ribbons to cross over and turn gray. You see this, you can kind of see it right here. It's kind of lit up, and then it unlights, right? Unlights up. I don't know how to say that, right? It's lit, and now it's off. And then eventually, obviously, this happens. We come down, EMA ribbons turn gray. We get stuck underneath there. We get that one last relief rally right into a very similar level, which is the 50-week moving average. And then we come up, we play with that ribbon. But once they turn gray, guys, this is bearish, and we kind of just fake it out and then go into that bigger dump, and we are in a very similar situation. And of course, what else was happening back here? We did have that weekly money flow coming out very aggressively, right? Didn't mean that we weren't going to get a 46% pump, but overall looking for those lower highs and lower lows, and that's kind of my base case here until proven otherwise, right? So even if we do get the rally up, you guys will notice, right, if we push up here, the top of the ribbons sit at about $98,000, the 50-week moving average sitting at about 102K, which is very confluent with the exact exact key levels that we've talked about based off of many other things. We have the macro POC sitting at about $97,000. Of course, we have the 50-week moving average sitting at 102K, and those big major levels of resistance, in my opinion, right now, right? We did get a little bit of a pump up here into the value area low once again. We're trying, right? We're trying to get back up in here. If we were able to get that, right, this would be a huge level to flip, sitting currently at about $89,000. If we can get up in there, the next major level would be sitting between about $95,000 to $97,000, the same exact level, of course. Like, we could literally do the same live stream we did yesterday, which is kind of why I'm going to do a quick update with you guys, and we'll jump right into the Q&A. But if we get above $89,000, that's the next major resistance above us. If we can flip that to support, right, the next big level, of course, we do have intermediary levels here as well. But the next big zone of resistance is going to be sitting around $95,000 to $97,500 to the POC of our macro range, which is very close to those EME ribbons that we just showed. And then, of course, at the top, we have that 102, really sitting at about 101.5 at that 50-week moving average. So, very confluent, if you ask me, right, with those moving averages that we just looked at. Let me come back in here, turn it to default settings, come on over to the weekly. Right, very similar, right? It's like all in that same exact zone. And of course, the 50-week came off. Bada boom. There you go, right? So it's like all in that same zone. You got 95 to 97K. Get above that. This is going to be the major level of resistance. And just remember, even in 2021, we were able to pop up above this just a little bit. And if we do pop up, just so you guys know, right? We get up here, right? We start peaking above. We do have the weekly MPOC at about 105K, as well as some other confluence there as well. So just very dangerous areas, or I wouldn't say dangerous areas, but definitely a place where I will be looking for potential lower highs and lower lows to come in, in the event that we do see the bigger dump come in, and the money flow is going to be, if the money flow ends up playing out, being below the 50-week moving average, closing those multiple weekly candles, which have indicated the bear market in the past. This is going to be like the big area to look at if we get that relief rally. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, guys, relief rally is not necessarily guaranteed, right? Especially with MicroStrategy not really getting the relief either. It does make me a little suspicious if we're going to see that relief rally. But as of right now, right, with the super choppy, just sideways price action, I'm going to get Market Cipher A off the chart here. I don't really have a preference here, right? If we pop up, I got the key levels to look for the shorts. I am still holding my long from $85,000, so that will continue to pay me out. So I am long. But I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen here, right? And those are the macro high time frame levels to look at. So that's the high time frame stuff, right? If we come down to the lower time frames, obviously, hyper locally, we're just bing-bonging around this volume profile that we looked at yesterday, from the low into the POC, back above the high, deviate from the high, back into the range, back to the POC, back to the low. Bounce off the low, back to the POC, back to the high. What are we rejecting right now? We're rejecting the value area high, which was also confluent here with our golden pocket retracement. Right, we hit into that confluence. We get the rejection. We're just chopping around here, guys. I mean, it's not even reliable price action. Of course, the volume profiles continue to help us and continue to be reliable, but we're not taking out any of the lows. It's just super wonky price action, if you ask me. Not really a ton of opportunity here at the end of the year. If there's a time to take a break from the charts, spend some time with your family or friends for New Year's, this is probably the time to do it, right? I'm not really interested in any local trades here. I'm just holding my long from 85K, and the next place I will be interested in a trade other than the $95,000 to $97,000 zone, if we pull up our current volume profile here, a little bit of a larger profile than that little tiny scalp zone. I literally got to pull these tiny ranges, guys. Like, if I can't pull these ranges, like, there's just nothing to look at, right? Like, we're just stuck in this tiny little range. And even this is a smaller range, but price just can't move. Now, if we do, when we look at this, right, we deviate below the low. This is where I'm long from, about $85,000. We're just holding on top of the POC. If we're able to get up to this value area high, I will say we do have some confluence up there with a daily horizontal. Yeah, we got the daily horizontal and the daily naked point of control sitting up here, right? So we do have some confluence there in the 91.7 to 90. Let me just pull this up. About 91.7 up to about $92,500, right? So again, just treating this as a volume profile, deviation below the low. We had the bullish divergences here. You have the higher lows on your momentum waves, the lower lows on your price action, right? Again, still long from here. Holding the POC, holding the POC, holding the POC, holding the POC. Are we going to be able to get the fill of the range, guys? This is the next local level to look at. Again, I don't know, if and when we're going to come up to 95 to 97K, but just locally, this is going to be the next major area of resistance, tangibly, right? Of course, this is a bigger level, but I don't know. I just don't know if we're going to get up there just because we don't have the volume. We don't have the oomph. We got nobody interested right now. Of course, very common for the end of the year. The holidays just passed. I guess you could still say we're in the holiday season. So just not a lot of attention here. Just like a totally dead market right here. So, but that's what I'll be looking at. Local range sitting between SA 91.7 to about 92,500. POC sits at about $87,000. And then the value area low, this is going to be key support as well. Locally, again, key is kind of relative here. You have the daily and the value area low sitting between about 85,691 and 85,413. And we do have a little liquidity sitting below these lows as well, guys. We talked about this yesterday, right? If we are able to come down here and sweep out these lows again, right, I would just view this as a volume profile. We look at this as a range until it breaks, right? If we do come back down, we sweep into the lows, right? Maybe we get a little bit of support, flip the POC, come back up to the high. I guess if I had a preference, my preference would be to come up first, only because I'm holding the long, and then we can try to catch some fresh shorts just to continue to trade that range. So we're just range bound here. We're in a range inside of a range. Please, for love of God, guys, I'm nauseous looking at this price action, and that's coming from a range trader. So there you go, guys. This is really what I'm looking at. 4-hour money flow, still somewhat in the green here. VWAP trying to come back down. One thing I will look at for a potential move back to the downside here is if we get this 4-hour red dot, guys, we do have a 15-minute money flow, or not a crossover, but we do have the 15-minute money flow attempting to come out here. If we get that 4-hour red dot with the 15-minute money flow coming into the red, that would indicate to me that the downtrend probably will continue, and then maybe we can finally come take out some of this liquidity we have sitting below this wick at about $86,319. Of course, pushing into that value area low. Once we lose that range low, next key level, right, if we do wind up coming down first, right, let's say we do not get the bounce here, we wind up losing the range. Only other thing, I'm not even really super interested in these levels, but we have some lows here that we could take out. One sitting here at about 84,388. The more important one that I would like to take out would be sitting at about 83,700. But all of these are just kind of internal local levels. The biggest level to the downside, guys, is I'm really only interested. The bigger trades that I'm interested in, guys, are down here still, sitting between the low at 80,500. I would love to come take that out before looking for another significant long position. And then for the shorts, right, other than like the little range trades in here, really just waiting for that bigger level between $95,000 and $98,000, or 95 and 97.5. So there you go. Just another day of looking at the exact same levels, guys. This is just trash price action. Let's see. Shout out to Poker Life and Trading. Wow, that's a fun life, bro. Shout out to you, man. He says, I appreciate you, brother. Can you look up MIDLE? It's on KSEX with a 6K market cap, lowest market cap coin. It's flying right now. Shout out to Poker Life. I appreciate you, brother. I could try to take a quick look at this, but with a 6K market cap, not going to be a lot that I can do on this, I would guess, right? There's not going to be a lot to look at. Yeah, I just can't. Is this it? There's not anything. I cannot really do anything with this chart, unfortunately. I can try to find maybe there's another ticker. Let's see. Oh, it's on KSEX. Yeah, there's just not anything I can do here. This is so low market cap. Come on over to the daily. I could try to give you a little bit of a read. You got the daily money flow crossing into the green. This would indicate a potential trend continuation to the upside. But again, there's just like not a lot of information here, and you can just see there's just not a lot here. Just all these crazy scam wicks. There's no real structure I can look at. There's no real volume profiles I can pull. I wish I could do more, right? Like this volume profile is just like, there's just not a lot of volume. So yeah, but what I can tell you is the money flow on the daily is crossing into the green. This is typically indicative of a continuation of the trend to the upside, right? So what I would look for here is a continuation of higher lows and higher highs. Again, take that with a grain of salt on a 6K market cap coin. Just not a lot I could do here, at least reliably, right? So yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could do more with that, but this is just really, really difficult to look at. I mean, I could try to pull up some MPOCs, but again, I just don't know how reliable that's going to be on such a low market cap coin. You do have some MPOCs daily MPOCs sitting up here at about 16,490. Could try to pull a fib here as well, see if you get any confluence on that. Not really. Yeah, you're hitting into the 786. There's not a lot I can do here, if I'm being totally honest with you, brother. I don't want to give you bad information. The only thing I can really see clearly here is you have a nice money flow crossover into the green. That is indicative of a trend continuation to the upside. I can take a look at the weekly. I just have no information on the higher time frames. Take a look at the 4-hour. 4-hour money flow coming out. So, 4-hour money flow coming out, right? This is a lower time frame, so it could indicate, maybe a little bit of a cool-off. But with the daily money flow, if you can keep that daily money flow in the green, you could look for higher lows and higher highs. But again, I mean, this is just low liquidity. So just very hard to do any kind of TA on this chart. This is just totally wonked out. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's hard to read. So hopefully it helps you out in some way. Probably not the answer you were looking for. I wish I could do more with that. But there you go. Yeah, somebody's just waiting to rug pull that 6K. That's what I would probably assume. I have no validity on that. I don't know anything about this. I don't know if it's a legit project, a meme coin. But yeah, there's just not a lot I can do here. Let's see. Thank you. Shout out to I tried, brother. I tried. But yeah, no problem, man. I'm always willing to look at it a little bit. At least give it a good effort. Let's see. Let's see. As long as the funding rate remains positive, shorts will yield, and the range continues until the last leverage longs give up. We aren't budging. Yeah, it's brutal. Hey, Mr. Market, do something, market maker. Come on, brother. Come on, help us out. But yeah, one thing I could give a little more detail in here. One thing I can say. Let's take a look at the liquidation heat map here, real quick, guys. Let me just load this up real quick. Pull up the I'm going to pull up the 1-month liquidation heat map here. And one thing that I would think, right, if we do get a retracement, maybe I'll pull up the 3-month. If we could start pushing up, right, if we could break out of this range, right, we could have a lot of liquidity sitting up here potentially. And I'll pull up the heat map real quick. Bada boom. So you can see we do have a little liquidity sitting above here at about 92,000, almost 92,500, the same level that we were looking at, that key level of resistance. Try to turn up the intensity a little bit here. You got some, again, we have all this local liquidity as well, but you do have a decent amount of liquidity up here. If you could start to push, right, maybe that gives us a little bit of a short squeeze to the upside, right, because it's very hard, right? Because there's kind of liquidity all over the chart, but people may be thinking like, oh, this thing's gonna break down. Now, of course, I have a higher time frame bearish view. It's not for no reason. I've explained it so many times here. The weekly money flow is lower than it's been literally since the beginning of the bull market, or in the bear market. So, that long-term scenario remains the same. But I am not naive to the fact that, this retracement could potentially come in. There's not a ton of strong confirmation saying it's very likely. But, if we start squeezing up here, all these shorts can get absolutely cooked, giving us a fast rip to the upside, in which case, right, would not make me think instantly all-time highs. But it would make me just kind of start looking at those higher time frame key levels of resistance we went over in the beginning of the stream to potentially be looking for those lower highs and lower lows eventually to come in. I don't ever want it to seem like just because I have a high time frame bearish view that you can't get a significant move to the upside. And I always bring up 2021. It would be this. My bias here would be exactly the same. The chart looks almost exactly the same. Weekly money flow coming out, massive weekly bearish divergences, massive weekly, monthly, 2-week bearish divergences, money flow coming out. A lot of people here would be like, what happened? I thought we were bearish. What happened? 46% pump to the upside. I thought we were bearish, right? That does not change the view. We're always open to those retracements coming in. What do you have here, right? You got green dots on the weekly. I'm sure you had some lower time frame bullish confirmations indicating that you would get a push up, right? But it doesn't change the fact that you're below that 50-week moving average, right? It's a different scenario than we were back here, right? Back here, you have a push into the 50-week moving average. You hold it as support. Once you lose that 50-week moving average decisively, you have a rough road ahead of you, right? Because you have all this massive support, right? Which the 50-week moving average is oftentimes the level of support that people call like the bull market support. Not the bull market support band, but like this is the level that people, look at to indicate if you're in a bull market or a bear market generally, right? And, anytime, right, we get the pullback, we hold on top of it, higher low, higher high, right? Why would I be anticipating that? Well, look at your money flow crossing into the green on the weekly, a rare bullish signal, right? And you're above the 50-week moving average. At that point, I'm already looking for higher lows and higher highs based off the money flow. And when you have the 50-week, when you break above that 50-week moving average, that now turns from major resistance into major support. Once you get above it, it has the opportunity to turn into major support. Once your money flow is agreeing with that, you're already looking for higher lows and higher highs. You have huge support underneath you. You get the higher low, you get the higher high. Unfortunately, on the way back down, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing, but upside down, right? You have the support, right? Once you break down, you start getting those multiple weekly candle closures below. Sure, you can get those big retracements. I'm not naive to that. Obviously, I'm sitting in a long position right now, but this also turns into major resistance, right? And what happens? Your money flow comes out. Just like back here, when your money flow comes up, you're above resistance. You're looking to flip that into support for a higher low and a higher high. Money flow indicating the trend is going to continue to the upside. Same thing on the way down, right? You break down below. Major resistance is now above you. You have money flow coming out. You're now not looking for higher lows and higher highs on support. You're looking for lower highs and lower lows into resistance. So again, right? Like, does this have to play out? Not necessarily, but more often than not, you will see this be the case, right? That's just kind of how the charts work. It's how TA works. Now, the one thing that would kind of get me a little bit excited is if we are able to get above that 50-week moving average and flip it into support. Now, this does not mean push above it and then quickly lose it, right? It's not the second you break above it, right? You got to get above there decisively and then flip it into support. And again, I would need the assistance of this money flow coming back into the green, which doesn't look very likely at this moment. So if we are able to flip that, we see these things turn around, you'll see me come up here. I'll be like, well, hey, guys, now we actually have different information on the chart. We can start looking for higher prices, right? Maybe 110, 115, 116, and then maybe even all-time highs. But until that happens, right, again, lower probability scenario there. But if that happens, right, like I wouldn't just be changing my mind because the price pumps. I'm changing my mind because we're actually seeing something change on the charts. This does not change my mind. This does not change my mind. This does not change my mind. We need to flip it into support with money flow coming up. Then you actually have something different that has not played out in any of the other cycles, right? Take a look at the 2021 cycle, right? I could have been wrong here, right? Obviously, I was making the calls here, weekly blood diamond. Everything I was saying right now, we were saying back here. Everybody hated me, but it ended up being correct, right? I could have been wrong here, though, right? If we wound up, this did not get me excited. This just kind of was like an opportunity to maybe offload your bags in profit or at break even before the bigger drop. But if we wound up ripping through here and flipping this into support and that money flow started aggressively cooking back to the upside, I would have been able to come up here and been like, well, hey, guys, now we're seeing something different. Now we can look for higher prices. But until that happens, it's an if this, then that. I need to see that stuff happen before my longer-term sentiment starts to flip. So there you go. Shout out to Gold. Gold in the Shell says, "Hey, I have a question. The green dot and the waves are deeper in the weekly chart, but the price is from wave to wave higher. Is that a divergence?" Yes, that's a hidden bullish divergence. We talked about this yesterday. It is a divergence, right? But not all divergences are created equal. Again, you need confluence, right? I look at a divergence as a reversal signal, right? And by reversal, that does not necessarily always mean reversal to massive new all-time highs. It just means a reversal in, locally, right? You're looking for another bounce. You're looking for a bounce to the upside or maybe a rejection to the downside. But in order for me to look for the bigger trend to continue up, we need that money flow to continue to the upside, right? Or not continue to the upside, but completely reverse and scam back to the upside. Or you can look for like high time frame market structure changes. But like, for example, right, we have kind of the same thing here. You have higher lows on your candles and lower lows on your momentum waves, right? So that is technically a divergence. And what happens, right? It does give you a little bit of a reversal. We get a strong downtrend, and then you start to wiggle to the upside. You get that retracement. But why did this not continue on a massive trend to the upside to hit $100,000 like many people were looking for? Well, it had everything to do with the fact that all of the money flow was leaving the market, right? All money was coming out of the market. We had the divergences. So sure, that divergence can give you a bounce, but that does not mean, right? A lot of people will look at that on an RSI and be like, oh my God, hidden bullish divergence, we're going to the moon. And I mean, I guess it depends on how you identify the moon, right? Like you got a 46% pump to the upside, which is a nice bounce, right? But again, that does not, you have to understand the environment that you're in. When you're in a bearish environment, AKA breaking below the 50-week moving average with money flow coming out, sure, you can look for the reversal. You can make plenty of money longing that. But again, the trend continuation is going to be a higher probability to the downside. So it's very similar here, right? We have pretty much the same exact thing. We have higher lows. You have lower lows, right? You even have the green dot confirmed here on Market Cipher B. This is 100% valid to look at. This could be indicating a bounce to the upside. But again, when you look at that money flow trending to the money flow indicates the overall trend. It doesn't call for these little pullbacks, right? Money flow's in the green. You expect the trend to continue up. But those red and green dots, even the bearish divergences, can indicate the ebbs and flows to the downside. So there's your divergence. If we got a retracement just like in 2021, that could be indicative of that coming in. But it does not change the idea that the higher probability of the trend continuation would be to the downside, right? On a daily, this would look like a massive uptrend. On the 4-hour, this would look like a massive uptrend. You have to be able to zoom out and understand the high time frame environment that you're trading in. The trend is your friend, right? You're going to be better off when you have a potentially big incoming downtrend. You want to be, you want to understand that and realize that you're going to be better off fading the highs. It doesn't mean you can't long. Like I said, I'm holding a long position from down here. You can make those moves. You could take those longs, make money on the way up, but you're going to be a little bit more conservative with those longs and a little bit more greedy with the shorts, right? You might catch that long and understand, well, hey, now we're hitting resistance. It looks like this trend's going to continue down because of the money flow. So, hey, I made my money. I'm going to lock in some profits. You don't even have to close the whole thing. You can take partial profits, move your stop loss to break even in case you do get a crazy scam to the upside, which is not impossible. Just because it's lower probability does not mean impossible. We've seen crazy things happen in this market. Any market has an element, a big element of randomness to it, right? And you can hold that, right? And you just, it's like a moon bag, right? Like you have your profits locked in, stop loss to break even. Maybe your stop loss is in profit. It's a guaranteed winning trade. If it scams to the upside, cool. Continue to make more profit on that trade. But you could also take shots at that short, which in my opinion, in an environment like that, would have a better chance of continuing for the bigger move, right? So you want to be greedy with the shorts, conservative with the longs. So hopefully that makes sense. Free sauce there, guys. Free sauce. All right, let's see. Can you do a Zcash update? I took the short from the premium at 534. Yeah, so we looked at Zcash. Well, actually, I'll pull it up real quick. We looked at this back in, I believe, I think it was like early December, maybe late November. Let me actually just pull this up real quick. If you guys watch the channel or tune into the live streams often, you will know Zcash, obviously, like one of the only altcoins getting any kind of significant move, right? Like, obviously, the altcoins have been dead pretty much this entire cycle for the most part. Zcash was really the only one that got like a decent sized move. If you go to like crypto bubbles or like you just look at just go to cryptobubbles.com. Go to like yearly or monthly. Like it's the only altcoin that has any kind of significant move. But when we were looking at this, all the way back here, right? This was screaming to the upside. Everybody wanted me to take a look at it. We pulled up some, let me see if I don't really have it on the chart. I don't want to pull this stuff up because it's from the premium, but we had our Fibonacci extension targets. I could try to pull the same one that we were looking at. It's probably this one right here, right? Once you break above that 786, flip it to support, break it. Right? Look at this beautiful flip, right? If you're looking for lower highs and lower lows, this is going to be the last area to look. Right? But why would you not be looking for lower highs and lower lows here? Look at your money flow. Cooking into the green, right? This is indicative of a trend continuation to the upside, right? Which we did wind up getting. And then that 786, as it is the last area to look for the lower high, which again, I would not be looking for because of the money flow. But it's like a perfect example of like, my sentiment here would be, hey, break above that 786, money flow's coming up. Once you break that 786, that is the last place to look for the lower high. Once you flip that to support, you're looking for all-time highs in this case, right? It's not every fib, but in this case, I believe this was the old all-time high. Once you flip above that 786, hey, lower high, right? Now we'll turn this purple because this would have been resistance, right? You're going to be looking for a potential lower high here. Of course, that's not the case because your money flow is flying to the upside. So the higher probability there is that you will break that 786. And then once you do it, if you're able to break that 786 and flip it to support, you can see how perfectly that happened. Break above, flip it to support. That's invalidated. That invalidates the lower high scenario, right? And then you're looking for a higher high. You're looking for, in this case, all-time highs. And then the targets for the all-time highs, we're sitting up here. We had our Fibonacci extensions sitting right here. right? Actually, I think we had the other ones I just had on the chart, but same thing. $780. We started pushing into these zones. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll just keep it here. As we started to peak out at this resistance, what did we see? We saw the daily money flow coming out, right? And I'll bring it back to where we were looking at this. Right? As we were getting a little rejection from that resistance, what did we start to see here? We started to see two things. We saw bearish divergences, higher highs, lower highs on the daily. Now, this does not necessarily mean that you're going to go to zero, but it is, you're at resistance. You're starting to see the daily cool off. Your money flow starts to come out. So at that point, we pulled our Fibonacci retracement, and we said, I believe it was either from here or here. We'll see what happens. We had our Fibonacci retracement. People are like, hey, where should I be looking for a pullback for a bounce? Hey, golden pocket 786 between about 320 and 247. We also had an anchored VWAP sitting in here as well, I believe. If I'm trying to get super, I think I pulled it from the low. Trying to get super specific, right? We're looking for the pullback, and again, I don't remember if it was this one or this one. We'll see what happens. But we pulled that Fibonacci retracement. This is the place where you would be looking for a bounce. And when we look for this bounce, because this thing was flying, and everyone's like, hey, I missed the pump. I'm looking to buy the dip so I can, if this thing's going to continue sending to the upside, I want to be able to get in, right? And there's that golden pocket retracement. I actually think it might have been more local because we did hit the 786. I think it was right here, right? So we have that zone. You get the bounce off your anchored VWAP 786, and it is because you have the anchored VWAP confluence, right? So when was this? This was in December, right? Well, we're probably looking at it back here in November on the way down. Hey, watch this level for a bounce. You come into it. We even check back in on this. Start to get the bounce from the 786. You get the push to the upside. And at this point, are you looking, right? People are like, oh my God, is this thing going to continue to fly? And this is where I say, hey, look at your money flow coming out. What are we going to want to look for here? We're not going to want to necessarily look for an instant massive rip up to all-time highs. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying you can't do that. But what were we looking at? And I actually have this pulled up right here. We had this volume profile. The profile's not there, but it's the same box. I actually remade this chart and I deleted that by accident. But this was the volume profile, and we had major levels of resistance that we were looking at. We had the value area low, the POC, and then we had the value area high. In this case, with money flow coming out, this puts me in a situation where I am looking for lower highs. We explained all of this on the live stream, step by step. Looking for lower highs and lower lows. The places to look for lower highs and lower lows, we're going to be here. We also had Fibonacci confluence, which, of course, is a place where you're going to want to be looking for the lower high. Level number 1, value area low. Level number 2, going to be sitting up here at the POC. Why am I looking for a high, a low, a potential lower high, and a potential lower low? It's because our money flow is coming out. If this crosses red, it indicates that the daily trend may be able to continue to the downside. Might be a good opportunity to look for a pullback. So we get the bounce, right? We see the pullback. We get the bounce. We start pushing up. This is how, right? I'm trying to show you guys how I see this stuff happening before it actually happens, right? This is the thought process. All right, well, if we're looking for a bounce here, this is where we're going to want to look, right? Now, in order for me to say, hey, this is a beautiful bounce, buy the dip, send it to new all-time highs, we want to see all our money flow continuing into the green. We did not get that, right? We have money flow just continuing out. So that's what puts us in the case of looking for the lower highs and potential lower lows. I'm not saying this has to happen, but what happens? Let's just move price forward here. We got a little bit of a rejection from this first level, and now we're pushing into the POC zone. There's your golden pocket. Also, we covered this on the live stream as we were pushing into this level. I think maybe it was yesterday or the day before. No, it must have been yesterday because we weren't live the day before. 4-hour bearish divergences forming into the golden pocket. Lower highs, higher highs. Starting to get a little bit of a pullback. Now, there's one more area we can look, right? We have the golden pocket. If we're looking for lower highs and lower lows, it's either the golden pocket or the 786. I am short on Zcash right now based off these things. Now, the one thing I don't love about this setup right now, and I have taken a shot at it, but I may end up re-entering. We'll see what happens. The one thing I don't love is I'm kind of shorting in the middle of the profile, which I don't really like. It is confluent with the golden pocket, which is a specific scenario where I am interested in shorting the middle of the range. I would prefer this POC to be above the golden pocket, though, right? Because we're above the POC. When we look at this from a volume profile perspective, I'll take this off because we got back above it. And let me just mark this out real quick. Value area low, POC, value area high, right? Like the one thing I don't love here is the fact that, you know, we get above the low and you can just see that value area low flipped to support absolutely perfect. At that point, you're expecting the POC. now that we're above the POC, I have to be really careful here, right? Because if we do even get a drop to this point of control, I got to be careful, right? Because at the end of the day, we could see a full fill of the volume profile. If we wind up getting the bounce off the POC and we end up getting the push into the value area high, this will be another area I'd be interested in looking for another entry. We have another setup in the Discord looking for a secondary entry. But, if we're looking for high, low, lower high, lower low, the two places to look are on the golden pocket and the 786. If I get stopped out of this, I will look to re-enter on the value area high 786 confluence. And to be honest, I can't guarantee we're going to get up there. I would actually prefer the short up here, because at that point you've gotten the full fill of the range. Maybe you deviate above a little bit, you get back into the range, your price is overvalued, and then you can look for the full rotation back down to the low. But I did take a shot here. Maybe I'll pull up the trade in a second, but I will just say, right, a lot of people say, like, well, how do you know if there's, like, multiple different things that don't all line up? At the end of the day, you got to take some kind of a risk, right? Managed risk, right? Controlled risk. But you got to be willing to risk it for the biscuit a little bit, right? If I get stopped out for a small loss here, right, I'll just wait and wait for that second level to get hit, and I'll look for a re-entry. So the one thing I don't love is, like, of course, right, the idea based off the volume profile here is flip the low, go to the POC. We're above the POC. So if we hold this as support, could eventually go up to the value area high. If we do get the move down to the POC, I will take profit. I have some local levels I'm looking to take profit as well, move my stop loss to break even. In case we do fill the rest of the range, I'll at least make a little bit of money on that, and then we'll just look for a secondary entry there. So there you go, right? We talked about this. I mean, it's kind of annoying because it took so long, but we've literally been looking for this forever, literally since, late November. The bounce and then the retracement. And I bring this up just because we literally talked about the idea here. Like, hey, guys, if we get this bounce, we want to see that money flow stay in the green on the daily, which obviously is not the case. It is continuing down. We're about to print a red dot on the daily here. And then if we come on down to the 90-minute, we also have 90-minute money flow coming out. This could indicate a market cipher B116 strategy. Daily red dot, 90-minute money flow crossover. When that happens together, oftentimes you can see the continuation. So we'll see. Maybe we'll come up here tomorrow. I'll be stopped out of this position. But there you go. Took over a month. But here we are. So there you go. Little Zcash update. Bearish divergences, money flow trying to come out. And then, like, another thing that kind of makes me a little suspicious of this one is the fact that we do have some high time frame green dots printing and potential bigger bearish divergences looking to pop up as well. 5-day green dot printing, 6-day green dot printing, weekly green dot printing. And then, this could eventually give us a lower high on our momentum wave, which could potentially indicate a push into the 786 and, hey, maybe a new all-time high. But I took a shot at that, right? There's, like, nothing else going on in the market. This is the only thing that has given me some kind of a setup. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Masnoka. Said, Frankie Candles, it's Masnokas. Just catch up. I'm applying for McDonald's applications. Should I send the link to the group? Yeah, I actually just got hired. So hopefully we wind up working together. Panda the Prophet works at McDonald's too, so we'll be all together. Shout out to Masnokas. Let's see. Shout out to Patrick. Says, when looking for a looking for the continuation of a trade, which time frame do you look at on Market Cipher B for validation? Well, Patrick, it depends on the context, right? If I'm looking to trade, right, let's just say, let's just pull up Bitcoin here real quick. If I'm looking to trade within this local scalp range, right? This is not the local scalp range, right? If I'm looking at this, like, hyper local range, if I see that I have some bullish confirmations down here on a lower time frame, maybe at some 30-minute bull divs or something, there's your 30-minute bull div, right? If I'm looking for a push into the value area low, right? You could even do it here with the short as well. But if I'm looking for a push into the value area low, bullish divergences for a rotation back into the POC, and eventually the value area high, I have money flow coming up on the 30-minute, indicating that we could see that trend continuation. A very wonky trend, of course, on this choppy price action. But I wouldn't necessarily, if I'm just looking for this, 2-3% move to the upside. This is on the 30-minute, right? You don't need to necessarily be paying attention. The weekly money flow coming out would not affect me taking along a small long on the 30-minute from the low to the high of the range. I wouldn't even be paying attention to the weekly money flow on that, right? The weekly money flow moves very slowly. So it really depends, right? If I'm looking for a 30-minute trend to the upside. I want to be paying attention to the 30-minute money flow and below, and maybe like the 1 hour money flow, some of the slightly higher time frames. But the weekly money flow is not something I'm not gonna long. I'm not gonna not take a scalp long on the 30-minute because the weekly money flow is coming out, right? So it really depends on the context. If I'm looking for a massive long, right? Like if I'm looking to accumulate on my spot bags for the bull market, right, in a bear market, right? Let's say we're at the bottom of 2021. I'm looking to accumulate. I'm going to be wanting to pay attention to the higher time frame money flow. So it really depends on the context, right? You could scalp the 5-minute. Doesn't even matter what the 1 hour money flow is doing if you're looking at that. So it really depends. I would say like if I'm trading the 30-minute, I'm probably paying attention to obviously the money flow on the 30-minute and down, and then maybe all the way up to the 1 hour. If I'm looking to enter a trade on the 4 hour, maybe then I'm paying attention to the higher time frame money flow, like the 8 hour, the 16 hour, maybe even the daily. But it really depends, right? You kind of have to separate you have to understand the context of your trade. So otherwise you're going to be thinking like, I can't take a long here because the weekly money flow is coming out. That's not going to matter on a 30-minute time frame. So hopefully that helps you. Let's see. What's the indicator at the bottom called? Shout out to I don't know how to say your name. I'm going to call you AS. This is Market Cipher B. Thanks, mods. Oh, there we go. The mods had it already. Shout out to Darren and Jesse and Tony D holding it down, baby. Let's go. Tony D says Q&A after the stream. Check the top of the chat to enter your questions. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, TA-related, personal, doesn't matter. Again, there's not a lot happening here on the chart. So it's probably going to wrap up the TA here soon, and we'll just do a Q&A. But put them in the Q&A section so they don't get lost in chat. Z Crash. Shout out to Samuel. I hope so. Shout out to TDK. Said, oh, snap, I'm 25 minutes behind. I'll be right back. 1.75 to 2x speed. Frankie will catch me up in no time. He's got the inhaler ready. I try to slow it down. Every stream. I just can't do it. It goes against my nature. Oh, liquidation heat map. We just pulled up the liquidation heat map. So, I mean, this is the 3-month view. Again, this is like, I'll pull it up a little bit more locally, right? I usually like to use the heat maps on a little bit more of a local time frame. I don't really use it on the super low time frames, but we'll pull up the 1 week. I know Solana is boring too, but can you do TA, please? Yeah, shout out to It's Happening. Yeah, no, and It's Happening. I saw that you were watching the beginner series. Shout out to you, brother, putting in the work. I love it. So yeah, we do have the this is the liquidity I was talking below about 86.6. So right now we got a little bit of liquidity up above, into the $91,000 to $92,000 zone. But a lot of the liquidity is really sitting down here below 96K. And this is kind of what I was talking about here. If we do come into that value area low, and again, this is going to be lower time frame. This is what this level here is for. 86.3, right? We do have liquidity sitting down below there. So I will be interested if we get the drop down. Again, simple volume profile stuff. Deviate above the high, get back into the range. POC and value area low is likely. Bounce off the low, POC. Value area high is likely. Longs at the lows, shorts at the highs. Even today, right? I did not take this trade because I haven't really been scalping the lower time frames on Bitcoin because, but you can just see how reliable the volume profiles are, right? Value area high. Even if you get the bounce from the POC and launch out of here, right? If you look for the shorts, if you're trading the volume profiles, right, and you know what confirmations to look for, which obviously we teach here a lot, this would be the idea for that full short position. Not that I would say now is a good time to enter it, but if you're short from the value area high, there's your overvalued price. Just like this is overvalued price relative to the recent price action. Deviate above the high, back into the range, POC, value area low. Back to the low, get back in, POC, stay inside, value area high. Deviation above the high, back to the POC, back to the low, so on and so forth, right? You're going to be better off shorting on the overvalued price action and longing on the undervalued price action. Again, relative to the range and the time frame that you're looking at. So even here within this wonky range, where are you getting the resistance from? The value area high. Would I be looking to short here? Probably not. Here? Probably not. I'm just waiting for that value area high to get hit. And even if within a volume profile trade, your TP1's the POC, your TP2's the value area low. So the full play out of this trade, if it does end up playing out, right, would be a continuation, lose the POC, go to the low. Just like it happened here, here, here. Here, you get a little bounce off the POC, a little bit of a retracement, lower high, continuation down. So if that plays out in full, right, the final target would be the value area low. But with a take profit number 1 at the POC, you can lock in some profit, move your stop loss to break even. Now you're in a guaranteed winning trade. If this thing decides to yeet on off into not new all-time highs, but break these highs into the bigger levels up here, well, guess what? You stop out in profit. You still win that trade because you took a trade at a high probability reaction zone. You know the value area highs high probability to get hit, and you also know if you see those confirmations that it has a high probability of giving you resistance. Even if it doesn't play out in full, you could still make a little bit of a single or a double hitting that POC and getting stopped out in profit. And if it decides to go to the value area low, you could take a TP2, maybe you take 20 to 30% out at the POC, move your stop loss to break even, putting you into a guaranteed winning trade, not because the setup is guaranteed, not because the strategy is guaranteed, not because the level is guaranteed, but because you are managing your trade correctly. Trade management over win rate every single time. But if you get to the value area low, you can either close the entire trade for a nice little volume profile trade, right? You would have had a bunch of these within this range. Or you could do, maybe 30% or 20%, 30%, 50%, and then just let the rest ride until you get stopped out. You could do 20% here, 20% here, let the rest ride in case you do get the bigger breakdown, which of course you can identify based off money flow, which is very hard to do right now. Everyone's going to be like, well, then what's the money flow saying? It's very difficult to call right now, but in a traditional situation, right, a cleaner trading environment, there's usually clear indications where that trend is going to continue. So that's the beauty of trading the volume profiles. So there you go. All right, a little bit of sauce there. When we don't have let's see here, right? And again, you did have the confluence here on the golden pocket as well. Golden pocket, value area high. So, if we're looking at this, right, again, I usually would like to short the value area high. I don't really like shorting in the middle of the range. Of course, you're above the point of control, so it's a little bit more risky. But you do have your golden pocket 786 sitting here between 88.7 and 88, almost 89K. So if we do end up doing something like we did here, where you get the drop, or even here you get the drop, the retracement, and the continuation down through the profile. Remember, these are magnetic levels, right? Get accepted into the profile. Usually the rotation is higher probability. But let's see here. Pull from the high to the low. Where did that lower high come in? Oh my! You front ran it by a tick, but pretty much right on that golden pocket, right? This is where I'd be looking for the short if I missed it up here. But again. Be careful with this price action, guys. Like, for all I know, this thing might just scam up. It's very, very hard to read right now. A little bit of sauce there, right? Maybe we come into the golden pocket 786, and then eventually we lose the POC and go down to the low. Shout out to Sandra. Thank you for the super chat. Says, have you taught Mrs. Candles how to trade? How much did she profit? I'm a lady, but not doing well on trading. Q&A. Shout out to Sandra. Thank you so much for the super chat. And I'll answer that when we get to the Q&A. Stay tuned. The quick answer is she has shown interest, and I have shown her how to trade. I'll give you more details when we get to the Q&A. I'll answer your question first. But there we go. Real quick, I'll take a look at Solana because somebody asked for it. Again, they even said, I know it's not really much of an update, but can you try to look at Solana? Right now, like the big things I can look at, like it's very similar to Bitcoin on the macro value area. Where is it at? There we are, right? Pull it up on the daily, right? Like the higher time frames here, guys, is like we got to get back inside this profile. We already tested again today, got the little rejection. Like this is a big level to get inside. Why? Well, if we're able to get up in here and reclaim this level, and get above this resistance, right, it does open the door to the POC, right? If we get accepted back into the value, technically, the next highest probability area to go is the point of control. Now, obviously, this has shown to be very difficult to do, right, in this very choppy price action. Volume profiles, just like anything else in trading, are not going to be 100%. I think they're way higher probability than most things, but they're never going to be, in rare situations like this, they can even be a little bit wonky. But this is a huge level to get on top of, and the reason I bring that up is because it's the same thing with Solana. Solana is tapping against its value area low. We were looking for this level to get lost, and we're now attempting to get back up in here. You got a 5-hour money flow crossover into the green. Again, very choppy here. So again, take it with a grain of salt. But if you can get back up in here and flip this into support, get this money flow to continue into the green, it does technically open the door to eventually get up into your POC. We also have the anchored VWAP sitting in here between about 144.76 and 145.70. This anchored VWAP is pulled from this significant high at 204. This would technically be the next major target, but the thing I would be careful with in this very choppy environment, guys, is we also have a local profile here, right? So you could just get caught up in this, but I would say if you can get back above this value area low, money flow stays in the green on the 4 hour, maybe you can get a little retracement through this profile. Local POC sits at about 132.68. Value area high sits at about 138.95. So there's some local levels you can look at, right? Value area low, 125, call it 125.80. Hold that as support. You could see the POC at 132.68. Get above that, you could look for 139.94. And of course, that would be on the way to eventually and hopefully push into the bigger resistance. And when we draw this out as a range, you have your high, right? It's a range inside a range, so don't get super confused here. But it's just kind of the journey, right? And if we look at this as a separate range, well, maybe you deviate above the high into key resistance, and then you get back into the range and rotate again, right? And then I would be careful around this value area low if you have high time frame money flow coming up, which hard to say. Daily money flow is still pretty deep in the red. You have some bullish divergences down here, so maybe it's time for a bounce. But again, not something I would really necessarily trade right now, but just kind of showing you how the price may move. So those are local levels. Value area low, 125.80. POC, 132.68. Value area high, 139.20. And then if you get above there, big resistance, major target, right? You don't even really necessarily have to look at these. I just try to be as detailed as possible. If you're going to get a move to that POC, the real big zone of resistance sits between about 144.50 and 152.34. Would I be careful of a lower high and a lower low coming in here? It depends on what this money flow looks like on the daily. If we start coming down and retesting this value area low and this daily money flow is about to cross into the green, well, what can I look for? I have divergences at the low, lower lows, higher lows. If I have money flow coming into the green, I could potentially look for a higher low on this value area low, right? You have a low, high, potential higher low for a potential higher high to continue up through the profile. I'm not saying Solana's going to $200, right? You have a lot of resistance up here, but just to kind of explain this is how volume profiles typically work, right? All right, let's see. Shout out to Matthew. Thank you for the super chat. Said, can you give an example for a confirmation for an entry on a short or long? Yeah, shout out to Matthew. I can absolutely do that. Tony, if you could drop that in the so we can remember that for the Q&A. Just drop that in the Q&A, Matthew. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. You guys don't have to send super chats for the questions. Just click on the Q&A at the top of the chat and drop them in there. They'll get saved, and I'll read through them all. Sandra says, thank you, Frankie. Mrs. Candles, 5 years watching. Shout out to Sandra. Let's go. It's insane we've been doing this that long. Incredible. Incredible. Shout out to Sandra. I appreciate you. And shout out to Matthew. I appreciate the super chat, brother. Captain Kirk in the chat. And Crypto Billy. What is going on, Billy? Welcome in, bro. I was thinking about you last night, bro. And Captain Kirk was in the chat yesterday. But me and Mrs. Kendall were talking about you last night, Billy. Shout out to Crypto Billy. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. Captain Kirk, CandleMafia Mama in the chat. What is going on? Thank you guys for being here. All right. We'll take a look at XRP, and then we'll start jumping into the Q&A. And then maybe we'll jump back to the altcoins if we get, if we see anything interesting. But let's take a quick look at XRP here, guys. I don't know why my dang watch list moved around. It's really obnoxious. I mean, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, guys. Not much of an update here. We're just still chopping around this 786. You got to hold this level. I mean, we are on life support here, in my opinion. If we cannot hold this 786, this is pulled from the wick low to the lower high. If we can't hold this 786, guys, I have to look. I have to. I have no choice. If we lose this, I have to look down here to about $1.52. I have to. It's the next level. Fill the wick into $1.52. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with that. But I can't guarantee it, right? It's like you don't really have the divergence on the daily. It's not strong, at least. Money flow is also continuing out. But what I can say is this is a line in the sand for me. Wicking below it is okay. You got to reclaim it. But as I always say with the Fibonacci retracements, I don't like to see these tapped more than once. We've tapped it once. We've tapped it twice. Almost tapped it 3 times. Sometimes the more times you knock on the door, the more likely it is to open. And in this case, the door that's going to open is the floor, right? Which would indicate somewhat of a fast move, in my opinion, down to about $1.53 to $1.52. If I pull up the VPVR, you could probably see this. If I had to guess, I could be wrong. No, I mean, look at that. Before we knew it was there, guys. Before we knew it was there. Why did I say this would be a fast drop? Because I assumed there was a low volume gap here. Why do I assume that? I could just see every time we've lost these levels, fast move down. Fast move down, even when you don't fill it in full, right? It's like a very fast move through this level. And, you know, what causes this gap? Fast move up, right? Fast moves up oftentimes lead to a fast move down. And you could just see here visually on the volume profile. If you're new here, the high volume nodes, and I know the word node kind of freaks people out. I'll just call them volume spikes, right? These high volume areas, this is a high volume node, this is a high volume node, this is a high volume node, this is a high volume node. This is a low volume node or a low volume gap. If we lose this 786 and we cannot reclaim it, guys, it could be a very fast drop down to 152 to 153. We must hold that 786. Do I think it's probable to hold the 786? Let's check the 4 hour. You can see how hard this is, guys. We tried to cross into the green. We're back in the red. Now, if you zoom in enough here, you can see we are attempting to cross back into the green. This is super choppy. The high time frames, right, which are a little smoother, we got a 5-day green dot, we got a 6-day green dot, we got a weekly green dot. So you're hoping that this could give you a bounce to the upside, but look at your money flow. The money flow is indicating an overall trend to the downside. So if we do hold the 786, key resistance is going to be the value area low at about $2, right? Basically $1.98. Might be a bearish retest for a continuation down through that low volume gap. If we can reclaim the value area low, we can then look for a potential continuation into the POC, which currently sits at about 218. The biggest level to get back above here for XRP, if we hold this 786, big if, is going to be about $2, $1.98. We could flip that to support. We could potentially look for a bigger retracement. Now, don't get ahead of yourself, right? If we do get back in here, even if we get above the POC, we have some big resistance above. Because when that weekly money flow comes out, we can look for a high time frame lower high. Even if we came up to the golden pocket or even maybe the 786, this could still be a big area to look for a high, a lower high, and a lower low. This weekly money flow is quite alarming. I don't want to say alarming, right? It's like such a fear-inducing thing. Doesn't mean it's going to zero, right? It's just, it indicates the trend is going to continue down. You try to remove the emotion, right? This is why I don't really like talking about bear market, right? Because it's like, people see that as like, it's like I call it like a cinematic term. It's like, oh my God, we're in the bear market, right? And like all the thumbnails that say bear market, it's like, it's all super scary, right? But at the end of the day, just understand that, you know, even on Bitcoin, right? Like, obviously, the bear markets can be scary, but look where Bitcoin ends up eventually, right? It wasn't going to last forever. We knew that. So it's like, sure, bear market, right? But all it's indicating is like you're going to get some kind of a significant trend to the downside. And when you zoom out enough, right, they're essentially just high time frame pullbacks. Bull market, bear market. But when you zoom out like this, what is this? This is a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. We're going to be looking for another higher low, right? So it is just like a longer term continuation down. And that is definitely still the case on XRP. And the fact that Bitcoin's money flow is coming out also does make me a little bit concerned. But if we can get the bigger retracement on Bitcoin, potentially up to the 50-week moving average, and dominance continues to drop, which I'm not even going to look at because it looks the same as it has the past 50 streams that we've done, it does look bearish, a little bit bearish on the higher time frames. If we get the retracement on Bitcoin and we can get the alts to continue to rally a little bit here, I'm not going to, necessarily instantly think that we're going to all-time highs. I'm going to be very careful for these high time frame lower highs. And I'll walk you guys, if we do see this move back up, right, I'll be here to walk you guys through it every step of the way. It's going to zero. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. Yeah, shout out to, that's actually probably something I should have brought up, right? The yearly candle. Let's pull it up. Red yearly candle. This is looking like it's very likely to close red, unless we get some kind of massive New Year's pump. So yeah, again, it's my it doesn't change my sentiment; it just agrees with my sentiment. So yeah, yearly candle does look like it is likely to close red here, which is obviously not bullish. We don't really see any yearly candle close red and then just like instantly bounce to the upside, right? Like even here, big wick down, back up, and then you fill it. So we'll see. Don't trip by the dip. Shout out to Crawler. That's the mentality, bro. That is the mentality. Day Digital in the chat. Welcome in. He retracted his chat. I wonder what it said. We'll never know. Spinning top candle too. Yikes. Yeah, a little bit of a bearish wick there on top. Setting notifications on. Shout out to Marcus. Let's go. I appreciate you, brother. Do you use log or linear for most of your analysis in crypto? Shout out to Benny from the bot. Shout out to you, brother. I usually use log. It just compresses the price action, right? And I tried to do this, right, like on Bitcoin when people are, and again, listen, maybe it's still again, you guys know my sentiment, but maybe we go to all-time highs, right? Because people are like, this was not a bull market, right? The bull market didn't even start yet. Screaming from the rooftops, guys. Screaming from the rooftops up here. And I know it doesn't look very extreme, right? This was kind of like a stair step to the upside, right? They always say it takes the stairs, the stairs up and the elevator down. But when I turn this off of log, right, like you could see this was very clearly, it's like makes it a little bit more clear that this was like a massive bull market, right? Obviously, you have the logarithmic regression, right? It's not as explosive as a move as we've had in the past. As the market cap grows bigger, you have the logarithmic regression. The pumps and the dumps become less and less as the market cap grows. It's just a part of maturing asset, maturing asset. But yeah, like it just compresses the price action. So most of the time I am using log, right? Especially when you're looking at like big moves, right? Like if I'm looking at non-log here, it's like I can't even really. 2017 is like a little speck, right? When you're like here, it's like right? So I like to use log to kind of even out the price action. I don't know if even out is the right word. So there you go. On BTC. Was I not looking at the BTC yearly candle? Am I tripping? It's going to look very similar, but let's do it. Oh, yeah, spinning top. Turn off the TA here. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of a doji there. But still, it just doesn't change my sentiment, right? It just wouldn't surprise me if that closes red. Obviously, we don't have much longer. Look at that. We got 1 day and 1 hour. That's not common that you have 1 day left on the yearly candle. But same thing, right? He's going to close bearish, just like on XRP. Oh, shout out to Dave Digital said, I was trying to lurk. That question was for the Q&A. Oh, shout out to Dave. I didn't see it. So it's now in the Q&A. Let's see. Shout out to Panda the Prophet said, after all the time watching, I still learn new things every day. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. There's always something new to learn. Sometimes I'll teach, someone will ask a question of something I don't talk about. And I'm like, wow, I've never even taught this. I might as well go into a little bit of a live tutorial. Imagine Bitcoin going to zero and MicroStrategy taking most of the damage. God, if Bitcoin ever goes to zero, that'd be wild. That'd be insane. Maybe if it comes out that Satoshi is like someone we don't want it to be, that would be probably really bearish. But it's just very hard, right? Because like every super bearish scenario, for like all the crazy bearish news that you hear on Bitcoin, right? Especially on Bitcoin, it's like it all like I remember it like it was yesterday, right? It feels like yesterday, and the bearish narratives they're valid, right? Like big exchanges going down, right? The FTX stuff is crazy, right? Regulation's they're gonna regulate Bitcoin into the ground. Exchanges are going down. This proves that crypto's not safe. All this stuff, right? And what happens? It bottoms out and goes into another, again, massive bull market, right? If crypto was dead here, not everyone, but a lot of people said crypto's dead. Don't trust it. It's dead. How did that happen, right? So, I am very cautious about the bearish narratives. Now, if it came out that Satoshi is like the CIA or something, I don't know. There's a bunch of like crazy narratives out there who, conspiracy theories of who Satoshi is, who knows. That would kind of be like the biggest thing, right? Because obviously that has a lot to do with, just don't even know if that would, I don't know, right? It would definitely be huge, right? We would know who Satoshi is. If it's someone we don't like, maybe that's like the most bearish news we've ever heard. Maybe that affects Bitcoin more than any other bearish news, potentially. But it's just really hard for me to think like, oh, this, China bans Bitcoin. US, if it comes out that the US bans Bitcoin, which obviously is not going to be the case unless something crazy happens. But clearly that's not looking like the way it's going. So, I would still just be so suspicious. Like, I've just heard everything. Crypto's dead for like pretty legitimate reasons, and it just continues to soar up and to the right over time. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman, said, Frankie, even if you retire, never take the educational videos down. The information is priceless. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. I appreciate that, bro. We work so hard on the content, and we give it out there for free. I appreciate you, bro. I don't really see a day where I retire, at least in full. This is Frankie Candles as a brand is part of my life. It's like part of my identity. Like, I could never just go do something different. I am Frankie Candles. This community, the CandleMafia, is a part of my identity. I don't even like taking off for Christmas, guys. So eventually one day I'll probably retire when I get old, but who knows? Me, in 15 years, maybe YouTube's all different. Who knows? But I will always be doing this in some form or fashion. It's just I enjoy it too much, and it's literally part of my identity. I couldn't imagine doing anything different. It feels like a dream to me. And for the Mafia out there that's been here since day one, shout out to you. Shout out to the OGs. It's shout out to Crypto Billy. Shout out to Dave Digital. They all started as the first community members. Captain Kirk, all the Rob the Crypto Snob, a lot of the mods were day ones, and it's crazy. It's beyond blessed. I wake up every morning, I pinch myself that I'm able to come up here and do this every day. And I talk about it a lot, but it really is the truth. 2026 is going to be 2025 all over again. Shout out to DK Insight. Hopefully not for the altcoins. Maybe we can get the altcoins to do something different than they did in 2025. But I'm excited for 2026, guys. I really am excited. It's gonna be a good year, even if it's downward price action, guys. Just remember, I started my channel all the way back here, pretty much at the start or at the confirmation of the bear market, and we made a ton of money on those moves down. It's the beauty of being a trader. If you don't know how to make money when price goes down, you're in the right spot. Watch through all the free education on the YouTube channel, and you'll just start seeing these bear markets as another bull market. You make money on the way up on your spot bags, and you short that sucker down, and it's just like another bull market. Flip the chart upside down. If you can make money going up and down, invert that chart, right? This just broke my brain. Wow, this is like harder to identify. There's the bull market. That just broke my brain. Okay, we're zoomed out way more than I thought. There you go, right? Price goes up, we make money. Price goes down, we make money. If it helps you, invert the candles. There's another bull market, right? And the bear markets are never as deep as the bull markets, right? Because you're always over time putting in those higher lows. So you could even invert the candles, right? Make the bullish candles bearish. There you go. There's another bull market. There you go. Let's flip that back around. There's Rob. What is going on, Rob? It says, have you hit the like button? Shout out to Rob. Speak of the devil. Have a great New Year's Eve tomorrow, boss. See you in 2026. Rob, thank you for everything you do here, brother. You're part of the family, an irreplaceable part of the family. Happy New Year to you, brother. Enjoy and be safe. Be safe, brother. We love you, Frankie. Shout out to Rudy. I love you back, bro. I love you back. I love you back. Shout out to Kamala Harris. It is harder to yield farm on the way down, but you do have opportunity to accumulate for the next cycle. Absolutely. Shout out to Mr. Market and Short. We need more likes. Shout out to Regular Guy Trade. Smash up that like button, guys. Let's get the likes to the viewers. I think we could do it. Hey, did Tony D get those new emojis in here? Let's see. I'm going to guess yes before I check. Oh, he did. Guys, we have a new Phoebe emoji. Because we have like a goat emoji. It's just a picture of a goat. But we actually have Phoebe emojis in the chat now. Oops, the comment contains an invalid emoji. Oh, he's probably working on it right now. Shout out to Tony D. All right, Q&A. Let's jump into this real quick, guys. Bada boom. How do I open this? There we go. Questions. All right, let's see. Oh, God, we got a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all these. I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to take the Q&A off the... Tony, can you unpin it? I can't see the top. I can't see the top one. Hang on. Let me go ahead and pop out the chat here real quick so I can scroll more. Hey, look, guys. You're on TV. You're on TV. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the Phoebe emoji. Look at that. That's a fire. You can almost not see it. It's a little small. But shout out to the Phoebe emoji. That is fire. If you have a Frank Candles membership, go ahead and spam that Phoebe emoji. Phoebe's famous now. All right, let me get into the Q&A here. Let's do it. Shout out to Weenie, said, how long? I almost didn't get the question until I had the delayed reaction on your name. Long enough. Right? Shout out to Weenie. All right. Shout out to Crypto Crimson said, what is a good entry into Solana if you want to buy back in at the very, very bottom? Give me exact numbers. LOL, JK. But I'd like your thoughts. Shout out to Crimson. I will take a look at Solana. We'll take a look at the higher time frame. Once we get through here, I'll jump on Solana before we sign off. Shout out to Neon Visual, said Moon confirmed 2029. I'm going to do this real quick because it's going to take 2 seconds. Pull up the cycle chart here real quick. Let's see. So we'll just assume the same timing from the top to the top. And we'll go from the top to the top. There it is. September 29. At least if the 4-year cycle continues to somehow repeat as it has in the past, which I think it will eventually break at some point, if not now, eventually. But if it does repeat, right, Moon 2029 would be at least somewhat confirmed. So shout out to Neon Visual. Emlo, not Elmo, said, can you take a look at Zcash later? Thanks, Frankie. Shout out to Emlo. We will try. Oh, we already took a look at Zcash. Scrub back a little bit. We did actually a pretty in-depth analysis on Zcash. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream, and you'll see that. Shout out to Perry, said, do we really need ExoCharts to be profitable like you, or is it enough, the divs and the money flow? We will have the relief rally for alts and BTC dominance. Did you sell some alts? Shout out to Perry. Simple answer. You do not need ExoCharts to make money trading. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, as a beginner trader, I would recommend keeping it simple. Wait until you master the charts, master the candlesticks, master the I don't want to say beginner strategies, but start to, like, when you start trading, right, you want to understand what the candles mean. What are the different types of candles? What do they mean? What does the wick mean? What does the body closure, the open, what does all of that mean? What is support and resistance, right? Figure all that stuff out. What is a Fibonacci retracement? What is a volume profile? Master, and then start combining that stuff. Master it all individually and then start to combine it. Then then you could start using you don't have to do it in order, right? But like once you start using Market Cipher, maybe you start with Market Cipher and then you start to add in some of the other stuff. I would recommend learning price action first. But I would not over confuse yourself, right? Just simple support and resistance. And then, once you start learning volume profiles, you'll understand, well, hey, if this volume profile thing starts to give me key support and resistance levels based off volume, maybe that's more of an important level to watch rather than just a horizontal 4-hour resistance level where we've gotten resistance in the past. So you don't need ExoCharts. Absolutely not. I use it as a confirmation, an additional confirmation, and it is a much more advanced tool. So I wouldn't even really get ahead of yourself, right? And you don't have to use order flow. It's definitely gives you a big edge. But eventually you can add that into your arsenal, right? You want to add those tools into your tool belt. I did not start with the strategies that I use now, right? As a matter of fact, there was a point where I was just trading patterns, right? There was a point where I was just trading support and resistance. There was a point where I was just trading Market Cipher with support and resistance, right? And then it develops over time. If I tried to learn Market Cipher, Fibonacci retracements, volume profiles, price action, market structure, Elliott waves, ExoCharts, all this stuff all put together at one time, I would have flipped the desk and been like, screw this is too hard. So you want to take it nice and slow. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't use order flow, right? And they still make money trading. So simple answer, you do not need it. But it definitely does help. But you don't need to add it until you fully understand everything else, in my opinion. What's my craziest favorite childhood story? Shout out to Perry. I have a lot of crazy, maybe not even childhood. I have a lot of crazy childhood stories too. Ones that I wouldn't be able to talk about here. I'm just the guy that crazy stuff happens to. I don't know how I find myself in situations that I do. Every time something crazy happens to me, everybody I know is just like, this stuff always happens to you, man. How does it always happen to you? I don't know. But probably one of my favorites is I went on vacation one time with my family, and we went to the Jersey Shore, and we got a townhouse in a building with like multiple townhouses. And I went outside to go play with my cousin or something, and I ran back inside. I went into my kitchen, and there was Fruit Loops on the table, and I said, "Oh my God, my mom went grocery shopping. We have Fruit Loops. We never have Fruit Loops. This is great. I love Fruit Loops." So I poured myself Fruit Loops, poured some milk, and I started eating Fruit Loops, and all of a sudden I look to my right, and there's a large, middle-aged man in a towel staring at me. I didn't know who it was, and I had gone into the wrong condo or the wrong wrong apartment or wherever we were staying, and I screamed and I ran away. That's a pretty funny one. It's probably one of my favorites. But I have some crazy stories. They're not all funny. They're all, some of them are crazy. But that's probably one of my favorite funny ones. Besides market cipher, money flow indicators, which indicators have you used and really trust? I like Lux Algo. You have to understand any indicator that you look at is not going to be an end-all, be-all thing. Lux Algo is one of my other favorite indicators. I have it here on a template. I usually turn this on and off because it marks off your candlesticks. I like to keep my chart nice and clean. This is really good if you want to learn market structure. It marks off it labels your market structure for you. You have breaks of structure, changes of character. And it's a suite, right? So it comes with a ton of stuff, right? They also have the signals and overlays, which gives you your smart trail, which is a really big thing that I like to look at. This is very similar to the weekly money flow, right? You can see bottom of the bear market comes in, right? What happens? You get the drop down. Your weekly smart trail turns red. This is pretty bearish, right? You got a little fake out here in 2021, but so did price action, right? Price action faked out as well. This turns red. At that point, you're in the bear market. Can't get above it. You're in a downtrend. Once it flips green again, at that point, you could start looking for higher lows and higher highs, very similar to the weekly money flow. And then as long as you hold above it, look at that. Support, higher high, higher low, higher high. Look what's happening right here. Very similar to what happened right here. So until we see that flip back green, it's very hard for me to remain longer-term bullish, right? And of course, it could fake out again, right? But you have to get a decisive change here, right? It's not just the money flow about to cross into the red. It's not just the smart trail flipping red. I have some strategies on the channel showing some entry strategies that I use. Tons of stuff on Lux Algo on the channel that you can look up. So I would recommend Lux Algo. But nothing is ever going to tell you exactly where to buy and sell. It doesn't exist. Trust me, I've tried every buy and sell indicator. I've even tried to buy and sell using Lux Algo. I've tried to buy and sell using Market Cipher. There's just nothing that's going to, there's more to the market than just a buy or sell signal, right? Is it a sell for the short term before another high? Is it a sell for the bear market? All this stuff, context is the most important thing. And understanding price action, cycles, market structure, all that stuff really does help. Or it's key, I should say. Preferred, I'm going to try to get through these a little quicker. I'm going to start yapping forever. Preferred methods of adding to a position when identifying trade, trend, and follow through. Very simply, right? Like I'll just use this weekly chart. We'll say for, let's just say you take a leverage long down here. You're convinced, right? Or your analysis tells you that you're probably in a bull market. You're looking for higher lows and higher highs. You would just want to find the higher probability areas to put those higher lows in this case, the smart trail. Maybe it's a Fibonacci retracement. That would be where you would look to add. And it would be the same thing on a 5-minute chart. If you identify a strong uptrend, usually by money flow or something like a smart trail, let's say you take the long here, you get a move up. Maybe you take a little bit of profit off the table. You get another move down. You pull your Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. You know that golden pocket 786 is going to be a, let me hide some of this stuff. You know that Fibonacci retracement is going to be a high probability area to put in a higher low, right? Well, and again, if your money flow is crossing into the green and that's what makes you look for a higher low, then you could potentially add to the position there, right? You could even take some profit and then re-add to the position. Now you have a bigger position. You continue up. You don't have to add, right? But you would look to, okay, I think the trend's going to continue up. I think the higher low comes in here. I'm going to add to the position and compound it, right? And then you get another higher low. Where you're going to look for the higher low, you're going to look for your major swing low to the swing high, pull your Fibonacci. That's where you would add on the golden pocket 786, right? And then you can add again, right? So that's how you would do it, right? You would just wait for the pullbacks for the high probability higher lows for a continuation up, and that would be where I would add. It would be the same thing for a downtrend, just flipped upside down, right? You get a move down, you're short, right? You wait for the retracement up into a golden pocket 786, this time pulled from the swing high to the swing low. If you push into those levels and your analysis tells you that the downtrend is high probability, you could potentially add to the position. So there you go. I'm going to try to keep these nice. I'm going to try to keep these short, right? We could probably just record this and turn it into a course. What are your favorite strategies for identifying trend changes and getting entry points? Pretty much the same thing as that. Again, for the trend, I love money flow. I love the smart trail as well. Money flow obviously always lives at the bottom of my screen, but the smart trail is also very helpful. And it doesn't always have to be on the weekly, right? If you pull up the daily, it will oscillate a lot more. You'll get a little bit, you'll get more fake outs on a daily just because it's more volatile than the weekly. But you can see here, right? You're in the red, it flips green. What happens? And you guys can actually, I'm not doing this to shill, but if you guys want to save money, you can use our link. It'll be cheaper. But the smart trail turns red, right? Or it is red. You're stuck. It's resistance, and then it finally flips green. At that point, right, you can look for a higher low into the smart trail and a higher high. This indicates this flip of the trend, and you could also use moving averages. You could use many things. You don't have to use a paid indicator. I just prefer it because I think it's easier to look at. But at that point, right, well, hey, smart trail's turning green. Now I know this is key support, right? And if I'm going to continue that trend to the upside, which is indicated by that smart trail turning green, this might be a good place to look for either an entry or look for a higher, even if you're just looking to identify the trend, right? This could be where the higher low comes in before the higher high. And oftentimes what will happen on these smart trails is the smart trail will oftentimes be confluent with your golden pocket 786s. And you can see the golden pocket from the low to the high was confluent with the smart trail, but we front ran it. Well, if you pull that Fibonacci retracement to your higher low, the local, you could pull it from here or here. 786 is directly what you bounced off of, and it was perfectly confluent with that 786. I typically will pull both of these fibs. If we broke through this one, I would simply just look at the lower one and say, well, hey, I really want to hold on top of that golden pocket 786. Preferably the golden pocket because that's what's confluent with the smart trail, right? And what happens? Higher low, higher high. Get another pullback. I mean, you don't hit it, but it still holds you up. And then here you can see you get a little bit of a fake out, but it works on all different time frames. The price action is fractal. The same way it works on the weekly is the way that it'll work on a lower time frame, right? Obviously, when you have choppy price action, it's going to be a little bit harder to identify. But again, you can use the higher time frames to understand that this trend might continue down. You might not be paying attention to those smart trails on the lower time frames, right? Again, I want to go too deep into it, right? Like, it's not just going to be as easy as looking for the smart trail. You have to understand the context and the overall environment that you're in. But just real quick, that's an easy way to do it. Or if you want to use money flow, right? There's your daily money flow crossover, right? Or you can even identify money flow coming up, right? There's your daily money flow starting to come into the green, right? You could say, well, hey, if this money flow continues up, this is letting me know. This is one thing I do love about the money flow is that it's directional, right? You could see this trending up before it even crosses over. When it crosses over, that's where you get the big move, right? Crossover, boom, slam to the upside. But when you see this trending to the upside, you could say, well, hey, now we're getting a higher low. This looks like it's going to cross green, so I can continue to look for higher lows and higher highs, 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 et cetera, et cetera. All right, I'm going to try to go real quick, guys. Will Bitcoin make a decisive move on Friday, January 2nd or Monday, January 5th? I'm going to say Saturday. Yeah, maybe Friday. I do have a time fib on January 3rd, potentially indicating a big pivot. So January 3rd is a date that I'm paying attention to. Christian Mella said, when will you call me your sweet little fuzzy peach and smack me? I'll cut that there. Shout out to Christian Mella. You're the GOAT, bro. You're the GOAT. Oh, man. All right. Jesse says short stream, question mark. Not anymore. Not anymore. Shout out to Jesse. When are we having the Gulf Coast Mafia meetup? I'm going to try to do a meetup at the next conference. We'll try to set up a meetup. We'll just, I don't know, we'll rent a space or something, and we'll get some of the Candle Mafia together, and we'll do a meetup. And just like this live stream, guys, I will probably wind up being in that venue until 5 a.m., hanging out and talking to you guys. But I am looking forward to that. Call of Duty or Battlefield, that's the real question. Battlefield. Haven't played the new one, but one of my favorite games of all time, Battlefield 3 on PS3. One of the only video games I'm good at, or was good at. And Halo. I'm pretty cracked at Halo. I've been playing it since I was like 5. John Newton says, oh no, I already read that. Shout out to your comrade said, hey, Frankie, can you share your position? I think it says I meant positions trades. Like when I listen to the stream, you say you find a trade minimum 1% on BTC. So what's your target on that trade? What's the risk? And how many trades do you get a week or a month? How many trades I get a week or a month is dependent on the price action. Currently, right now, they've been far and few between. Not that the opportunities are far and few between right now. We've caught some scalps. I've even had setups in the Discord that played out that I didn't even take just because I'm not interested in trading the chop. So me personally, sometimes I have setups in the Discord and I'm just busy doing something. I'm not on the chart, or I'm just out doing something. I'm not interested in taking the trade for whatever reason. I'm not there when it sets up. So it really depends, right? I wouldn't go for a certain amount of trades a week. The amount of trades I take a week or a day is dependent on the amount of setups I get, right? I don't get onto the chart and say, I'm going to take 10 trades this week. So I could probably try to find an average. But yeah, like right now, I have been trading a lot less actively just because of the chop and holiday season, end of the year. I got a lot going on. So yeah, it really depends. And the positions, yeah, I usually show them live. I usually actually show the exchange with the position. I guess I don't really necessarily talk about the exact risk or not. I could try to be a little more detailed about that. No problemo. Is Pulse Chain finally forming a bottom? I could try to take a look at that in a minute. Shout out to Marcus. Hey, Frankie, on Warbucks, do you know if you can set partial limit TPs, or can you only manual TP partial positions? I typically do it manually, so I can't answer that question 100%. I could try to look into it for you and get back to you if you pop back into the stream, Rio. Shout out to Rio Grande. I'll try to look into it. Ask me again, and I'll try to answer it to you for you if I can figure it out. But I usually do everything manual. I don't use limits that often. But on Warbucks, I will say, I mean, really on anything, if you use limit orders, you're going to pay a lot less in fees, so that is a benefit. I just see the fees as a cost of doing business. But I know not everybody's in that position, so I'll try to look into that for you. If the past is gone and the future, shout out to Al Jr., says, if the past is gone and the future hasn't happened, does the present really exist? I would think that the present is the only thing that does exist, because everything either hasn't happened yet or is in the past. So wouldn't the present moment be the only thing that is reality? Or are we just in a simulation altogether? Do we live in a hologram? A lot of the smartest people in the world think that's the highest probability, which is a horrifying thought. Shout out to Al Jr. Great question. If a tomato is a fruit, does that make ketchup a smoothie? Oh, technically it does. I don't think you can feud that. I mean, if you make a banana smoothie, that's a fruit, and you mash it up, it's a smoothie. If you mash up a tomato, that's a fruit, that's a smoothie. I don't think you can argue that. But I think ketchup has like salt and stuff in it. I wouldn't put the salt in. Let's see. If a turtle loses its shell, is it homeless or naked? I like to think naked. Yeah, I would say naked. Question for Matthew. Can you give an example of a confirmation on an entry and a long? Yes, I'll explain this when we get back on the chart. When will XRP hit $27.618? Why did I read that like that? When is XRP going to hit $27? Shout out to Dave Digital. XRP to $27 in 2 cycles. I don't know. I would say 2 cycles. Probably not this cycle if I had to guess. Shout out to Dave Digital, says, when ring baby eyes Frankie Candles emoji. It's a new year, Dave. It's a new year. Shout out to Dave. Says BTC Vegas 2026. Consensus Miami 2026. Question mark. As in, which one do I prefer? Or will I be going? Yes. And I've been to Miami 100 times. I've been to 100 Miami BTC conferences. I didn't go to BTC Vegas. I didn't go to the conference in Vegas this year, so I would have to prefer Vegas. I love Vegas. I actually thought I would hate it there the first time I went, but I actually ended up liking it. Going to take a long time to get these losses back. Shout out to DK Insight. Potentially. Like I always say, like if you lost money in this cycle, it's a lesson learned, right? I've lost money in cycles as well. I know it sounds like it's just so easy to say, and it's probably not what anyone wants to hear, but it's a learning lesson, and you do come out of it eventually, as long as you fix the mistakes, right? And DK Inside, I know you're a smart dude. As long as you identify the mistakes, you just figure out what went wrong. And, it's hard to say what went wrong because everyone's in a different situation. Maybe you bought too late. I think a lot of people could have did it right and still got it wrong, right? Like, I mean, I have a lot of altcoins that are still in the red, break even. More of my bigger bags are still in the green because I bought much lower. But, I have a lot of altcoins that are in the red. So, that's something that I think a lot of people couldn't predict this cycle, was that the altcoins were going to underperform so much. I didn't expect that either. And I paid the price, right? So, like, maybe next cycle I take that into account and I adjust, right? Shout out to Mr. Jinx, said, Frankie, why are you so awesome? Thank you, bro. You're awesome, not me, bro. I appreciate that, man. I don't know what to say about that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you so much. I don't know. I don't think I'm that awesome. I think I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a dude. But I appreciate you. Shout out to Mr. Jinx. Crypto Creek said, I see an inverse head and shoulders on Theta, 2 hour and a bottom at the bottom of the weekly decreasing channel. Shout out to Crypto Creek. I'm probably not gonna have a lot of time to look at the altcoins after this, but we'll try to take a look at Theta. We'll try to take a look at Theta tomorrow. I'll take a look at some of the altcoins tomorrow. We haven't taken a look at Theta in a long time, so that one's due for some analysis. Why doesn't everybody smash the like button? Shout out to Nick Dunn. Probably because price isn't going up. It's insane, right? Like, we're at half the viewers of when, as soon as price goes down, like, I could tell the sentiment of this market just based off the YouTube analytics. It's like, it literally moves with Bitcoin. It's like the volume on Bitcoin is directly correlated to the YouTube attention. It's, just is the way it is. But smash that like button if you're watching, guys. Let's get it up to the viewers. I think we could do it. Shout out to Squad. Said, I don't know what that is. I think it's a dinosaur emoji or an alligator emoji, maybe. Shout out to Squad. Zach Leroy, what is going on, bro? He says, what's your thoughts on January 2025 being the top and October being a double top with inflation? January 2026 would be the bottom of the bear. Zach, if you go by the, I'll just show it because I have the, I already have the cycle chart here. Let's see here. So top to top, obviously, like, literally the same measurements every single cycle. And currently, yeah, I mean, if we want to go into a big bear market, guys, like, this could not have been more spot on. Where we at? Top to bottom. So let's see here. So if the bear market plays out similar to how it has in the past, October 2026 would be around the expected bottom. Again, that's if the cycle repeats. Who knows? We get massive money printing before that. Who knows? This could change. But traditionally, I would be expecting it around October 2026 based off the 4-year cycle. I'm not saying that I'm expecting that right now. We have to see what happens when we play around if we play around with the 70 to 59K range, see what the money flow is doing, see how long it takes us to get down there. But if it plays out exactly the same, right, or very similar to what it has done in the past, 364 days from the top to the bottom, 378 from the top to the bottom, take the average about 371 from the top to the bottom. Around October 2026 would be expected to be the bottom. We've compared the or January 2025 being a double top. I'm not sure if 100%. It just looks very similar to 2021. Right? I don't know if you're talking about this like kind of being a double top like it was back here. It does look very similar. I will say that. I don't know if I answered that question accurately. But shout out to, who said that? Who said it? Shout out to Zach Leroy. Rudy said, do you have any hobbies, dude? You into combat sports or nah? Shout out to Rudy. I don't do combat sports myself. I mean, I did jiu-jitsu when I was younger, but I love UFC. I love watching combat sports. That's probably like that's the only sport I'm into I'm into UFC. I like watching boxing. I'm not into boxing. I actually like watching UFC. I'm more into UFC. But yeah, me and Tony D always talk about joining a UFC gym or a boxing gym or something. So maybe in the future. Did you sell all your XRP bags? No, I still hold some of my XRP. I have an entry price much, much lower. It's like one of my only bags that's in the green. That and Solana and Ethereum. all with much love. My entry price on Solana is like $30. Shout out to Squad. Skizzle says, free liquidity, free Frankie, free BTC, unleash the oil. And I think he's talking about baby oil, guys. Shout out to Skizzle. Karishma said, does Mrs. Candles know how rough you treat me? Karishma, I'm nice to you. I have a tender touch. That's enough. That's enough, Karishma. You got me. All right? That's enough. You got me. I broke. I'm tender. I have a soft touch. Sometimes. Shout out to Karishma. The most out-of-pocket CandleMafia member, and we love it that way. Al Jr. said, do you eat pineapple pizza while you trade? Never while I trade. Eating and trading is very dangerous. You could choke if you get a fast move. But I do like pineapple pizza. I don't consider it good pizza, but I'd separate it as its own meal, and I do think it's not bad. It's an interesting flavor mix, but it is good. I don't classify it as good pizza, though. It's like pineapple pizza is its own food, but it is good. Shout out to Al Jr. And Immigrant Diaries says, do you think we might sweep 86-ish before going up? That's locally the next place that I'm looking. We do have the liquidity down there that we saw it. We have the liquidity down there that we saw on the liquidation heat maps just before earlier on the stream. So, yes, it is something I'm looking at. Again, not super interested in any of the local levels, but we do have the liquidity sitting down there 100%. Did adoption pull the cycle forward? January bottom would fit. What alts have done? Yeah, shout out to Zach Leroy. Potentially. Yeah, I mean, again, like for me personally, I do take all this stuff into consideration, right? 40-year cycle, the timing of things, all that stuff. But really my main bias here, right? Like my main decisions, my main thought process on where I think price is going to go is based off the technicals, right? So is it impossible, and I assume you're talking about a bottom coming in here in January. Although do I think we can get a bounce here? Yes. Like the reason I don't feel strongly that this is the bottom, right, is just the fact that we have massive bearish confirmations on declining money flow. So like, could that happen? Yes. But two things can be true at the same time, right? Could that happen? Yes. Does that mean ignore the bearish technical indications that have every single other time indicated the top being in? You can't ignore it, right? You could be open to it, maybe scamming back into the green. But it's very binary for me, right? Money flow is coming out here. This is bearish. If this crosses red, I have to look for high time frame, lower highs and lower lows. This is just never an environment, whether it's the 5-minute, 30-minute, 4-hour, weekly, daily, yearly, or anything like that. It does not matter the time frame. When I see this, especially if it crosses into the red, I am never looking for massive new all-time highs. When am I looking for massive new all-time highs? When price has cooled off, had a nice big red money flow wave, and it starts to trend back to the upside. That's where I expect those big moves up. Is it impossible to yeet off into new all-time highs here? Obviously not. It's just there's many things. It's not my opinion. It's not really my, I guess it's my opinion based off the information, right? It's not just, it's going down. I think it's going to go lower. It's all based off the chart looking weak. So there you go. For me to change that, right, we'd have to decisively get above that 50-week moving average and hold it as support and get all the high time frame money flow to push back into the green, which, yes, we've seen here. It comes out, it comes back up, it comes out, it comes back up. But understand where we were in the cycle. This was in an expected bull market, and you're above the 50-week moving average, right? Support, support, support. Breakdown, now this is massive resistance. Support, support, support. Breakdown, massive resistance, money flow comes out. Support, support, support. Breakdown, massive resistance, money flow coming out, right? So I'm not saying this has to play out. I just can't ignore it personally. So hopefully that answers your question. Fried chicken, regular or spicy? Usually regular. But me and Tony showed me Dave's Hot Chicken. Shout out to Dave Digital. It's actually really funny. I actually really like spicy fried chicken now. It's like a new thing. I never really liked it. Now I do. Dave's Hot Chicken is amazing. I think that's the name of it. I think it's Dave Digital's Hot Chicken, actually. Shout out to Dave. Al Jr. said, do you know, in fact, how much you've changed our lives? I hope you do. So before the year ends, wanted to say from me and all of the Mafia, mother effin', thank you. Much love, brother. Shout out to Al Jr., bro. That those are the comments I like to see, bro. This is what keeps me going every single day. This is an exhausting job, sitting up here and talking. I get off this live stream, and Mrs. Candles is like all hyper. She's like, "Hey, let's go out to eat," and I'm like drooling. It takes a lot of energy out of me, but it's because I love it, and I dedicate so much of my energy to it, and that's why I do it, because I know, because you tell me stuff like this, and the Mafia tells me stuff like this, that we actually do make a difference in people's lives, and we help people make money. I've seen people go from getting wrecked to just not even trading, just learning TA and helping them make money in the bull market, or learning how to trade. More often than not, it's trading. People changing their lives. We've had people pay off cars. We've had people send their kids to college. I've even had haters. I talk about this example all the time. People who hated me here. I got cooked in the comments talking about the bear market coming in here. And I actually had two people reach out to me and actually say, "I hated on you so bad when you talked about this, but it started to make sense, and you saved me a ton of money." So that's what I do. It's worth all the arrows I have to take if I could just change one person's life, or at least just help them be in a better situation. And I'm not special, guys. I am a normal person. I'm not, I don't know what my IQ is, which maybe is a sign of my IQ. Never taken an IQ test, but I'm not like extravagantly intelligent. I'm like a normal person. And if I could do this, I know for a fact the Mafia can as well. That's why I'm so passionate about helping people. So shout out to Al. I love you guys too. You guys changed my life. I'm such a happier person doing this than any other thing I've done in my life. And it's amazing. Like I said earlier today, I wake up every morning and I pinch myself that I get to do this every day. Shout out to Dave Digital said, "It's a new year is not an answer to my question." Shout out to Dave Digital. Well, I just don't know. Dave, I'll try to speak in code. I just don't know. I don't know who's watching right now. So I am limited here on my detail. Hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to Dave. Shout out to Zach Leroy. Said, "Appreciate you, boss." Thank you. Shout out to Zach Leroy. No problem. And that wraps up the Q&A, guys. Let's come back in here. Candles in the chat. There we go. Let's get it. Shout out to Dave Digital and Jesse and Crypto Billy dropping the chicken in the chat. Let's get it. And the DD emoji. All right, guys. Shout out to Masnoka, said, "You're not normal, you're from New York." I wish I could defend myself against that, but I probably can't. You're right. Us New Yorkers are a interesting breed. Shout out to Crypto Billy, said, "Hashtag givers gain, hashtag FYP started here." Let's go, Billy. And that is a not even a crypto community, what do I call it? Like lifestyle. That is a human lifestyle. If you don't know what FYP means, it means find your people. And this started in the beginning of my channel when I talked about a lot of like the dark times that I went through and how I got to where I was or where I am now. And, you might be stuck in a hometown. No one understands you. No one understands, oh, you're trying to trade. You're going to lose all your money. You might not be around the right people. And sometimes you have to leave your hometown to go find your people, right? And sometimes leaving your hometown means getting on the internet and meeting strangers from all over the world. And I found my people here in the Candle Mafia. Crypto Billy is one of those big people. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Shout out to Crypto Billy. I love you, brother. You changed everything for me, dude. You have no idea. Shout out to Rudy. Let's go, baby. I love to hear it. And on that note, guys, here we are, 7:30 on the dot. I didn't even look at the clock until just now, guys. This is the end of the stream. So we'll see what happens on Bitcoin. Let's go down to a lower time frame here real quick. Come back over to our actual chart, onto the Bybit chart. We'll see what happens here, guys. We'll see. I did the Q&A just because we might do another Q&A tomorrow, maybe. Just because there's not a lot going on here, right? We're just stuck inside this scalp range. Local value area to keep an eye on is going to be, I'll just give you the local range here. Value area high, 89, 89, 88,000 at the POC. Value area low at 86.7. Like I said, if we get this 4-hour red dot, VWAP is attempting to come down here. If we get this 4-hour red dot with the 15-minute money flow coming out, that 15-minute money flow crosses into the red with that 4-hour red dot. My anticipation is to lose the POC, come down to the value area low for the full fill of the volume profile, just like we looked at earlier today. There's your local range. Get it on your chart. Other than that, excuse me, we have the liquidity down below about 86.3. Look for that to get flushed. I'm just giving away all the sauce here. It's the end of the year, guys. It's the end of the year. Give away some extra sauce. Other than that, guys, larger volume profile sits between value area high at 91.8 up to about 92.5. POC sits at 87K. Value area low sits at 85.7. Other than that, just waiting for these bigger levels to get hit. These are all just like scalp levels, maybe day trade levels, and the bigger trades are not down here until we sweep 80,500 or we come up here to the 95 to 97, 98-ish $1,000 zone. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get all the sauce. That's all the time I got for today's live stream, guys. Thank you so much for being here. You can check the links in the description down below if you're looking for a place to trade or looking to check out any of the indicators I talked about on tonight's live stream. Thank you guys for being here from the bottom of my heart. We'll have a nice heart-to-heart tomorrow to bring in the new year. Thank you guys for being here. Am I on my face cam? I don't have OBS up here. There we are. With all that being said, that's all the time we got for today's live stream. Oh, Sandra says, thank you for the super chat, Sandra. You didn't have to send another super chat. I appreciate you, but I did forget. Frankie, my question was, did I ever teach Mrs. Candles how to trade? Mrs. Candles approached me, and she said, I think I want to learn how to trade. And I literally almost teared up. I was like, no way. This is my dream. Sat down with her, taught her how to trade. She actually picked it up pretty quick, but she lost interest. She lost interest pretty quick. I got her on a demo account, never filled her with a live. Actually, no, I think I did. I think I gave her a live account. I threw a few $100s in a live account. That live account is probably still there. I don't know if she ever took a trade, but she was learning. I think she didn't understand how much learning was involved in it, and she probably just figures like, why am I going to do this work? You do it. But shout out to Mrs. Candles. She did learn, and I will say this, Sandra, if you're one of the rare female Candle Mafia members, I'll tell you this. Girls, I believe statistically and just like innately are better at sticking to strategies and better at managing discipline when it comes to trading. And they have like a statistical edge there. It's obviously a male-dominated space. But if I give you words of encouragement, the reason I was so happy Mrs. Candles was going to trade was because she'd probably have way better risk management. She'd probably stick to the plan way better than me. She'd probably very quickly become a better trader than I was. Plus, if I got her on camera, we'd get a whole lot of views. But I'm just kidding. But Sandra, yeah, if you're learning how to trade, you're in the best place. It's all for free here on the YouTube channel. Live streams are free every single day. Stick with it. Start on a demo account. Don't risk a ton of money at first. And just understand you are innately at a higher probability of being profitable than a man. So shout out to Sandra. Thank you for the super chats. Hopefully that answers your question. And now my tears of happiness when Mrs. Candles asked me to teach her how to trade have turned into tears of sadness because now I have to keep doing it. I'm just kidding. But shout out to Sandra. Shout out to Marcus. Shout out to Rudy. Shout out to the Krishamella. Love you, Frankie Daddy. Shout out to Crypto Billy, Captain Kirk, Rob the Crypto Stop, Darren Does Things, Jesse, all the mods in the chat, Tony D. And with all that being said, guys, I'll see you here tomorrow. I am going to stream tomorrow. I might do a short stream because it is, I don't know what my plans are tomorrow, but I'll probably be doing something tomorrow night. So we'll probably cut it a little bit short. But if not, we'll be live. Plan is to go live tomorrow. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Same place, same time. I love each and every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. Smash that like button on your way out. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them two bells ready. Speed for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Hey, guys. Oh, man, I wasn't going to show this. It's not really that crazy. But just want to playing around with some new merch, some 2026 refresh merch. Check this out. Tell me what you guys think about this. It's a work in progress here, but check this out. Whew. We got the Phoebe with the CandleMafia chain and a CandleMafia chain and a candle in her mouth. I mess with this, guys. It's a work in progress. But anyway, that's all the time we got for today's live stream. I didn't know what to do for the fake out, so I said, hey, we'll show some potential new merch ideas. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. I love you all. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor.